free people should live as free people. Those are the Catskill Mountains with the Hudson River down below. If you were to follow that river all the way down, you'd go down to New York City. And the scene behind me pretty much encapsulates exactly how I'm feeling about life in the United States these days. There's so much in that background that is so very familiar to me. It's the place that I was born, just down that river. And those mountains, in all of my years traveling, whenever I've come back to see my family, I've always seen those mountains and it reminded me immediately that I was home. With those looming clouds just really summarizes how I'm feeling about life in general. I was reviewing a lot of YouTube videos over the last couple of days, and I was so happy to see that there was a gathering, actually it was called The Gathering, of a number of prepper channels, and basically just folks getting together and trying to combine their strength of all their subscribers and come up with some kind of a strategy to combat the lunacy that we're seeing in the United States. There's no real sense of an election that was done fairly. Of course, the media will tell you that there is, and there's court cases that seem to be promising different things. But the reality of it is that the election was between two people that, at the end of the day, I don't know were really that great for America anyway. One certainly was better than the other. And we definitely want to make sure that the democratic process was exercised in a legitimate way. But having said that, it looks like maybe it wasn't. It looks like maybe it wasn't. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't pass the sniff test. And so people are frustrated. And so we have now a disenfranchised population wondering what's next, waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for all the promises of the other side to come to fruition, whether it's the lockdowns, whether it's the forced vaccinations, whether it's coming for guns. All of that is in the pipeline and waiting on the other side of January 20th. I went and I listened to that. I was actually watched the video of those number of different prepper channels, The Gathering, and there was a really interesting juxtaposition of philosophies. There was definitely an effort to get people organized, to write politicians, to pass out flyers, get people organized, and I thought that was great. But there was also the understanding among the people gathered there that there was a need for more serious measures because we're in it. The conflict has begun. The organizational meeting that I saw occur, which was about an hour and a half, really was very promising. And I think out of that will come a lot of really great stuff because all of those content creators and even myself in my own small way will be a part of organizing people. I myself am trying to organize people locally to fight, to actually do things. And so the question then becomes, what is it that we're going to be doing? And I guess more importantly, what is it that we're aiming for? I'm not really interested in aiming for America 2019. I think America year 2019 is pretty broken, pretty corrupt, administrative state, don't have a lot of hope in it. I'm a constitutionalist. I believe in the U.S. Constitution. I've given my oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And so I'm ready and willing and able to do that. The question is, how will that be done? Because we know that the enemy, like those clouds, are gathering. They're gathering and they're planning and they have already been planning and plotting. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. So the question becomes, what do patriots do that we can organize in an effective way? So I decided that I'm going to do a series on secession. Secession being the idea that a state which joined the Union peacefully could leave the Union peacefully. Now, if you went to any American high school, any American school, you would have heard the term secession in the context of the Confederacy of the United States, which fought to secede to leave the United States. And of course, the issue at that time was slavery, which is unfortunate because slavery is wrong, and in any circumstance, slavery is wrong. And while that conflict was very much related to states' rights of being able to do what they like in terms of leaving, unfortunately, the principal issue in that was slavery and the enforcement of Fugitive Slave Act, and there's a whole bunch of historical analysis about that. It's not the only secessionist movement that has occurred in the history of the world. But that's the American one, and it was fought, and many, many Americans died as a result of it. And I think if you ask the average person if they actually know their American history, they will be able to articulate the idea that secession is, first of all, it's illegal, and that it was settled, and once you check into the Union, you can't check out. And that's the discussion that has happened all of these many, many years. And I have always come back to the idea of if a state, if an independent sovereign state, as the states in the United States were known as, could join the Union, they should be able to leave the Union peacefully. And there have been secessionist movements in the United States that I would like to explore. Interestingly, they have been more of the progressive or liberal ilk. There is the Second Vermont Republic, which was looking to leave the Union during the Bush presidency, because they felt that the Bush presidency was a warmongering union and entity, and they did not want to participate. There is a secessionist movement in California. California is a huge state, fifth largest economy in the world. They send many, many dollars to Washington, D.C. that they don't get back. And they're a producer. They are a country. And there is a movement there to leave. Texas, of course, is very famous a number of different times. All of these places were once countries. They were a republic, the Republic of Texas. Vermont was a country before it was a state. New Hampshire was a country before it was a state. And so it's a philosophical question that I think is worth answering, because I think that if a people cannot get along, there's no sense in imposing your will on others. If you want a certain vision of your life, then you should be able to create that, and you should not be able to impose that on another group of people. I feel very strongly about this. Some people want to be taken care of. Some people want safety. Some people want a governor like Mario Cuomo here in the state of New York to take, quote unquote, care of them and to shut them down and to provide for all their needs. And other people, another governor that comes to mind is Kristi Noem up in South Dakota. Let the people decide what they want. So I don't want bullets to fly in the United States. So we have to get organized, and by we I mean free people. Democrat, Republican, it doesn't really matter the political party. It's a factor, but it doesn't really matter. I think free people should live as free people. And so I think that what we can start to do is to organize on that note. As a first step towards that, I am going to be evaluating over the next few weeks, in probably the comfort of my office, the book, American Secession. And I'd like to do it kind of as a book club type of idea. I'm going to do it chapter by chapter. And I really would like to invite everyone who's listening to this to let me know what you're thinking in the comments. I'd like to hear about it in the comments for this video. Do you think this is a good idea? Am I off base? What can we do? I don't think bullets flying in the streets would be a great idea. It may happen, but I don't think it's a good idea. And I don't think writing to your politicians and begging and pleading for them to do something is going to work either. Clearly, our vote is not as important as it used to be either. We have at least 75 million disenfranchised people right now, millions of people that are not happy and feel that a presidential election may mean the complete altering of their life, up to and including bringing in territories, Puerto Rico or Washington, D.C., as a political maneuver to change the balance of power forever. A presidential election should not mean this much. It shouldn't. And when it does, it tells us that our government is completely out of control. We have people in various states that are getting fined. I think there was one guy in Maine. He was trying to keep his restaurant, like a brewery, open, and he got shut down. In New York State, a $15,000 fine for some guy up in Buffalo. I mean, it is just unbelievable what is happening here under the guise of governmental power. Apparently we don't have rights, we have privileges. And we're being told what we can and cannot do based on the whims of a bureaucrat. And it is disconcerting. So let's think about some real solutions. Let's think about solutions that don't involve bullets flying, and let's think about other solutions that don't involve writing letters to politicians that could care less about what you have to say. In fact, I bought the URL freestatesecession.org, freestatesecession.org, and I'm going to develop that website to create a way for people that are interested in this idea to network with each other, because we have to network with each other on a local scale. We can't just be keyboard warriors and say, yeah. We got to actually do stuff. We have to actually organize. We have to make it happen. We have to put people into office that can start putting these type of proposals on the table. So I'm asking you to get involved. I'm looking for, as I was told by my Marine recruiter many years ago, we're looking for a few good men, and in this case we're looking for a few good women. We're looking for a few good patriots to begin this process. While I have your attention, I'm going to mention a couple things. We need to get off social media. Social media is not the platform in which we as patriots should, can, will communicate going forward. It's going to get shut down. We've seen that it's been suppressed. We need to get into alternate forms of communication. One of the things that seems to be popping up is Parler. It's kind of like a Twitter. Parler. That's one. I'll put a link in it for you. If you're a Second Amendment activist, you need to be on www.2ac.org. It's a platform that was specifically designed for people that are interested in supporting the Second Amendment to be able to communicate with each other. I'll put a link in that in there. And of course, my email, which is going to be, I'm going to start creating a list of people and resources that we can use to organize this. I want to organize a movement. I want it to be as powerful and more powerful as the 2 or 3 women that started Black Lives Matter with hashtag Black Lives Matter. I applaud the prepper community that is the gathering that has occurred. And I hope to be a part of that. I want to be part of that conversation. There are disparate thoughts. There are some people that love Trump. They want Trump back in office. I think Trump has done a few good things. I've never been a huge fan of him. I think some of his policies were great, but I think personally, let's face it, I think it's a little bit of nepotism and not so much best business ethics. Having said that, I'll take him over Biden any day. So I want to just leave you with that. I'll end the video here with those thoughts. There's more coming on this topic. I really do hope that you will add your comments down below. I want to get some feedback. Hit the subscribe button and let me know that I'm doing a good job and that I'm on the right track. That's what I need from you. If you could do that, I really appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit subscribe all, and definitely leave comments and make sure that you are letting other people know. Share this video. Let's make it happen. Let's get organized. We can do it together. Absolutely, positively. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your attention. I look forward to the next time.